Doty.
And I'm Rainey Laviolette.
And welcome to this week's edition of
PC Voyage.
Engage. My co-host as an interviewee as opposed to interviewer, Rainey Laviolette from Manufacturer Technologies, and Donnelly Duprill with the PC Voyage News. Hi, Rainey.
Hi, Andy.
How you doing?
Well, okay. Roads were a little slippery this morning, weren't they?
Yeah, just a tad.
I did one of these this morning coming up Route 5, and a little hairy there for a second, but fortunately there wasn't any cars around, so it didn't make a difference.
It's nice to see the computer was spared, though.
It wasn't in the car.
Oh.
It wasn't a problem.
So. What are you going to be demoing for us this evening?
Well, if you can get the words out, we're going to be talking about Visual Basic version 2, put out by Microsoft. It's the latest version of their basic product.
Good, good. But first up, our illustrious company computer will be delivering the trivia question to you.
Ooh, how profound.
This week's computer trivia questions. Number 1. Who makes the smart modem? And number 2. Exactly how many bytes is 1 megabyte?
Welcome back. So, Rainey.
Andy, we did that already.
I know that. I just figured I'd do it again, remind people. How does Visual Basic differ from other versions of BASIC, like GW Basic or Q Basic or anything like that?
Let me kind of stop you right there for a second and let me back up a step and explain what Visual Basic is. What Visual Basic is Microsoft, who is known for the last zillion years, as many years as Mr. Gates has billions. Visual Basic is the next generation of the Microsoft programming BASIC. Microsoft started out with Basic A with MS-DOS under the IBM PC, upgraded that in DOS 5 to QBasic. In between there, they came out with a compiler called QuickBasic, and Visual Basic is their Windows version of BASIC.
Are the applications created with Visual Basic, are they isolated strictly to Windows, or could they be used in DOS as well?
Well, they do have a program called Visual Basic for DOS to replace QuickBasic under DOS. So what you can do is certain applications can be converted from Visual Basic Windows to Visual Basic DOS.
If you have an understanding, perhaps even a small understanding of DOS, is it easy to learn Visual Basic?
You mean an understanding of BASIC?
Basic, I'm sorry.
It really is, because with Visual Basic, you design your dialog boxes, and we can get into some examples of different programs that have been written with Visual Basic, as well as different things you could do with Visual Basic.
Okay, and some quick potential applications for Visual Basic would be?
One of the most popular ones is games. If anybody's familiar with downloading software off a bulletin board or CompuServe or anything like that, a lot of the games are written using Visual Basic. Small applications. One of the problems with Visual Basic is speed. It's not the fastest program in the world, and they have a dynamic link library called VB-Run, well, that's what it is, a dynamic link library. And that tends to hinder Visual Basic speed a little bit.
Oh, so why don't you give us a quick little spiel on the virtues and wonders of Visual Basic.
We're going to see just how little I know about this real quick. I use Visual Basic a lot for applications that potentially could be moved into C. For our company, we produce cost estimating software, and I've written a couple of modules using Visual Basic. It's an excellent tool. It's it's a good, fast way to write a program. I can get into some of it here. So just to give you some of the ideas of what it comes on the menu. First thing here we have is Visual Basic itself, version 2. Introducing Visual Basic is a sort of a mini tutorial. The README file, Visual Basic help, you can search all the help. Custom control help, that's for if you have the professional edition. There's 2 editions to Visual Basic. There's the standard and the professional. The professional has some custom controls to do things like graphing and checking key statuses and pop up some pictures, and actually also have some pen control. Professional demo is a little demonstration of all the features. The knowledge base are questions that you may have about Visual Basic. They try to answer as many of them as possible. Go on to some of the things here real quick. Windows SDK help. Because this is a Windows development, you can access any of the Microsoft Windows software development kit. And so they give you here a reference to the application program interface. And they also give you a little software version of the visual design guide to help you design your own programs. Let's pop into Visual Basic here real quick. The standard copyright screen here, this is the boring part. Now this is a 386 with 4 meg of RAM on it. If this were a VGA screen, which is this is only EGA because of the scan rates and problems we have with that for a television, this would look a little bit better. But just for example's sake, when you start a Visual Basic, it starts up with a blank form and says, well, what do you want to do with it? Well, let's get familiar a little bit with the screen. For anybody who's familiar with Windows, the menu up here is pretty well standard across any Windows application. And this version of Visual Basic has also added a button bar. And kind of going across them real quick, this icon here, and all these things on the button bar can be used through pull downs as well.
What's the purpose of the button bar? Why the button bar as opposed to?
It's to save you keystrokes. The button bar is generally designed, like for example this one right here, which is they look like VCR buttons. It's the run button. You could do the same thing with the F5 key, or I could go up to run, pull down the run, and hit start. It's all the same thing.
So it saves you keystrokes.
It saves you keystrokes, or save your mouse movement or whatever. But going from left to right, we've got the new form, which is what one of these is, and new module, if you're going to have a new basic program, because you can have BAS files. This one here is open a project, save a project. This is your menu design window. You ever wonder how a menu gets added into a program? Well, Microsoft added this cute little thing. And let's create a caption here for it. Let's see here. We'll call this one File Open. And we'll actually, let's do this. Let's call it File New. And we'll do a oops, I screwed up. Bear with me. And we'll add this, let's say you can make it enabled, visible, checked. We'll just say OK. And now you can see that, oh, that's what I did wrong. Oh boy, I screwed this up, didn't I? Bear with me for a second. You'd think I don't use this thing all the time. I told you I was going to show you just how little I knew about this stupid thing.
So essentially what you're attempting to do at this time is you're attempting to add a pull-down menu to your application so that the user, if it was other than yourself, would be able to go up to this file option and drag down into new and execute potentially whatever new goes.
There we go. See where you have file there and file here?
Mm-hmm.
But with the menu design, we can go in and we can add oops. There we go. We can go in here and under File, we can put in, let's see here.
Like open or something to that effect?
That's a good one to start with. And we can also move this over so it would appear under it. So when you pull down File, you've got an open underneath it.
Okay.
So that's how you design your menu. The next thing over here is your Properties window. And Properties is kind of neat. what you can do with the properties is that allows you to set your background color, your border style, captions, clip controls, control box, whether it's true or false, your draw modes, draw style, your fonts. You can set your fonts here, your font sizes, the height of the box. You can actually physically program any one of these. So if you wanted to turn something on or turn something off, you have all these properties that are specific to this form right here. You can actually change your mouse pointer. This is one that's kind of neat. You ever wondered why the hourglass pops up? Is you've got different mouse pointers. You've got the arrow, you've got, I just changed it to that, you've got the cross, an I-beam, which is what you do for any input, the icon, size, which is a north, south, east, and west. You have a northeast, southeast, size, north, south, northeast, southeast, hourglass, up arrow. All these things here are all properties, and there's tons of them. There's probably about 50 different properties for each item that you create.
Kind of like a quick pick list. Is that what it is?
Features. Features is probably a better way of putting it. It's more of a features list. And then you've got your VCR buttons. You've got run, break, and stop. You've got the breakpoint where for debugging you can tell it to stop at any particular part in the program. You've got your instant watch, which if you want to see what a variable's set at. You've got your, let's see here, calls. You can monitor your calls or look at your calls. You can do a single step or a procedure step through your program. So these here are all debugging features. And then you've got over here the size and location of your window. As you can see, they change. And over here on the side, you've got your toolbox. Now, this will vary depending on if you have the standard or the professional edition. The standard edition has the pointer, the picture box, the label, which, for example, let's pop in a label into this. You see it's just a label. Now we can now go in to the properties and we can actually change the caption of our label. We'll call our caption Andy's test. And we can totally resize this because we may want to put an input next to it. We've also got, where am I here? The text box, the frame, and a frame is kind of nice because you could use this, and just kind of showing you some of the power here. You can use this to put options in. Come on, take this one.
I've noticed that things appear to snap to the little grid or the little dots on the screen. Is that like a grid that's, or is that literally a snap to grid, or is that just there for your own reference?
You can use snap to grid if you want. Now you can see here I'm sort of creating an option box. I have two options in it. I can, through the properties, I can set one on and one off, or two on and one off. And then I can also change the labels of these just by going, I can change that, and then I can come in here and I can change this to something like that, so you can actually create your own boxes. And actually, even the frame, we can change the name of this. Everything can be changed. It's completely flexible to whatever you want. You've also got the combo box, where if you've ever seen this in a Windows application, the little pull-down box, you can actually set options in this. You might use this for file commands if you want. You've also got the list box, where a list box is empty because I don't have anything set in it. It would give you the up and down, like if you had a list of items that would fill the list. You've got left and right scroll bars, up and down scroll bars, and you can fit the scroll bars. I want the scroll bars, thank you. You can put scroll bars anywhere into an application and actually build functionality into them. You've also got the hourglass, which is a timer, drive list, directory list, file list box. You've got, they moved around on me a little bit. You've got the shape, the line, the image, the grid, and the OLE client. You can actually create a DDE and an OLE client, which is object linking and embedding, with this. The extra items in the toolbox are with the Professional Edition, and they are the animated button. You can actually create a series of bitmaps that can create an animation effect. You've got the common dialog box. Now this one here, let me create a new form here. And what I'm going to do is there's a thing here called the common dialog box. There we go. Now what you can do with the common dialog box is you can use it. There are several different standard dialogs. The open. You ever seen the file open and how it's fairly standard? Just like this. That's a standard dialog. Microsoft has set up several dialogues or dialog boxes that are common.
So you wouldn't have to write all this.
Right. You know how much of a pain it is to tell it, okay, open the directories and check the drives and allow you the type of files. I mean, you can do this, and that's part of the power of this. That's why they give you the drive and the directory boxes. But you don't need to. You don't need to. It's not something that's important to have or even try to write yourself. Also got on here gauge, graph, keyboard status. Can't read what that one is. Oh, that's for communications. You've got the, you can set up number fields if you want. I'm trying to look at what these things are here. Pictures, spin button. You've got 3D controls where you can actually set up a 3D checkbox, a 3D frame, 3D option button, and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and show you something that was already done. One of the good things, too, is that Visual Basic comes with a lot of samples. And we can go in and see what they come with for samples. They got a calculator. And let's pull up the calculator just to show how easy it is. No, we don't want to save our current changes. No, we don't want to save those. And no, we don't want to save that. The nice part between Visual Basic version 2 and version 1 is that in version 2, you can actually create an application and then print it off and actually use it inside your own text editor if you wanted to.
So you could actually get in there, fine-tune the code that this creates.
Oh, sure.
It'll create the code for you, and you could go in there and enhance it.
Or if you have your own favorite program that you use to print files to your printer, you can use that as opposed to using Visual Basic. Now here's a calculator program. This is the actual program running, and it's running in Visual Basic. And we're going to do 7 times 56 equals 392. Mm-hmm. Now to see what this program is, let's stop the program, call up the form itself, and you're going to see that it has that grid look to it. And you can actually call up and click any one of these, and it will actually tell you, we click the number 9. But the click event is the procedure. And this is the same code for each one of the number buttons. Okay? It tells it what number it was, and it goes ahead and it displays it on the screen. And all your code is here, all your objects are here for canceling, decimal, number, operator. Operator is your plus, minus, equals, divide, multiplication. You can do percents, you can do readouts, and then over here in the processes, they give you all these processes that you can check for. You can check for a change in a variable. You can check for if somebody clicked into the function or double-clicked into it or even dragged it and dropped.
So what essentially is, what's the cost on Visual Basic for someone, let's say, the average home user that would like to get started, maybe dabble a little bit with Windows application?
Well, you got to have Windows first. Once you have Windows and you've got a machine powerful enough to run it, the standard edition is $199, and that will allow you to create any good Windows application. If you want to get into the fancy stuff with the Professional Edition, then that's going to, I think that's $495.
What about just the average beginners?
Well, that would be, the standard edition's $199, something like that. And that would be the way to go.
That would get people started at home? So
I think so. There's also some third-party books. I mean, you get enough books with this thing. You get a language reference, you get a programmer's guide, and if you get the Professional Edition, you get the Professional Features book. And there's a couple of good books. They're intimidating because of their size. But one is the Visual Basic Super Bible, which is put out by the Weight Group. This is a good book here. And another one is the Visual Basic How-To, also put out by the Weight Group. I went out and bought both of these because, as with everything else, there's no one piece of documentation that solves all the problems you're looking
We'll
for.
find everything you need.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for,
As if I'm not here anyway.
you know, getting on the other side of the table, so to speak.
Hey, no problem. We got past a couple little problems here in the beginning, and we moved right through.
All righty, and next up, Chip with the trivia answer.
Here are this week's computer trivia answers. Number 1. The smart modem is made by his. And number 2. 1 megabyte is 1,048,576 bytes.
Welcome back. So, Rainey, it didn't seem as though it took you very long to create an application. What's the average time it takes to create an application?
Well, it's going to depend on the complexity, and you can use all the power of Windows. So if you don't find something in Visual Basic that you want, it is available through the Windows API. But generally, I mean, a little calculator program like that, a couple hours maybe.
For the beginner?
Yeah. Well,
All right.
I mean, once you get used to it, it took me a couple of days to get used to it. I was used to programming things with Quick Basic and C with your regular editors, so getting used to Windows took me a little while.
Seems pretty easy. Seems pretty
Not
easy.
bad. Not bad.
Next up, Donnelly Duprill with the PC Voyage News.
Hi, I'm Donnelly Duprill with the PC Voyage News. Packard Bell has expanded its 486 line with the 486 DX250. The company's first mini tower-style PC is based on Intel's 50 megahertz 486 DX2 microprocessor. The base version provides 4 megabytes of memories expandable to 20 megabytes, VGA graphics with 512 kilobytes of video RAM expandable to 1 megabyte, and a 210 megabyte hard disk. Other features include dual floppy drives, 5 open expansion slots, 5 drive bays, a built-in fax modem, and a mouse. Windows 3.1, DOS 5.0, a Prodigy Service startup kit, and a selection of Lotus development applications are also provided. The system costs just under $2,500. Packard Bell is located in Chatsworth, California. Microsoft is denying a claim that it hid key features of its Windows operating system in order to gain an unfair advantage over competitors. A new book, Undocumented Windows, lists application programming interfaces, APIs, that Microsoft doesn't describe in its documentation. The alleged omissions could give the firm's programmers an edge over outside developers. Microsoft is not alone in its use of some undocumented API calls in its applications, and we derive no competitive advantage from using them, said Microsoft Executive Vice President Mike Maples. Digital Equipment is once again a PC manufacturer. The #2 computer company currently sells systems made by a variety of contractors, including Intel, Olivetti, and Tandy. But earlier this year, it began test marketing its own PCs in Asia, Australia, and South America. The company's new PCs will be sold in the U.S. at prices starting at $899. They feature parts made in Taiwan. The machines are built at several locations worldwide. Digital marketed its own PCs in the early 1980s. The systems proved unprofitable and were removed from sale. Mantis XF5700 Experimental Space Fighter is a new game from Microprose Software of Hunt Valley, Maryland. The program asks players to save the planet from giant alien insects that have nearly wiped out the human race with a nuclear attack. Worse yet, the bugs have started reproducing inside living human bodies, making life very uncomfortable for the few remaining survivors. The DOS-based game provides animated sequences, voice support, sound effects, and a full musical score. It costs $59.95. A CD-ROM version is set to debut this fall. I'm going to have to go out and get one of those. Portions of the PC Voyage News are brought to you courtesy of the Prodigy Services Company. I'm Donnelly Duprill.
Much better that time.
Donnelly always does a great job, doesn't she?
Of course.
And here's Chip again, as if you haven't seen enough of him already, with the PC Voyage address.
If you have any questions, or if you have any comments about the show, please write to us. Our new address is PC Voyage, P.O. Box 10486, Holyoke, Massachusetts, 01041. We appreciate hearing from you.
And remember, we give you the address for a particular reason. Please send in questions. If we answer them on the air, or even if we don't, you get the opportunity to win lots of wonderful software donated by our guests. Rainey hasn't donated anything yet, right, Rainey? Anyway.
They said keep it short. I want to tell you real quick before we have to go that I found this great program yesterday walking through the mall. It's the Energizer Bunny. And he actually has his own piece of software. Not only can he be annoying on television, but he can be annoying on your TV as well. Watch. And what they've got here is this is very unique software. It can be set up as a screensaver, which sometimes it takes longer to initiate than others. Come on. This looks like After Dark, doesn't it? But just in case you thought it might be After Dark, here comes our friend, the Energizer Bunny. He's going to waste all of our time here just trying to walk across the screen. Come on. There he comes.
So he's making little sound effects as well while it's going across the screen, right?
The sound effects are neat. The only problem is that it slows down the graphic a lot, obviously, to have the sound effect. But here comes Mr. Energizer Bunny. And if you don't like that one, let me kill the sound here because he'll go much faster without the sound. If you don't like that one, you can have him even... Oops, don't want that one. You can even have him parachuting out of the sky. And the funny thing about this is not only can it be a screensaver, but while you're using your program, you can set up an interval where, like 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 10 minutes, he'll come walking across your screen. In the middle of an application, if you're in the middle of an important spreadsheet, all of a sudden you hear... I thought I killed the sound on that. Apparently I didn't. And here he comes parachuting down from the sky.
Oh, brother.
And on that note...
On that note, yes.
I'm Rainey Laviolette.
And I'm Andrew Doty.
And here's the Energizer Bunny. Better than Chip?
Definitely. Until next time.
See you next week on PC Voyage.
Let's pop his drum.